Now that I think of it, didn't even post it. We're gonna know.
Tell them to hurry up. Freaking sun's right in my face. Yeah, figured they'd be good and do a little short one.
Yeah.
Just to
Yeah,
keep her rocking and rolling.
Blake called me. I was like, "What are you doing in Tulsa?" He's like, "Oh, getting my bolt work done or something."
Getting all the bad juju out of it, I hope. He's got to. He's got to, Nick, for the next 2 weeks. He needs to have 3 really good tournaments, which they're all setting up.
Yeah.
Well, Mississippi will set up good for him. 10 Killer ought to set up good for him, and then, man, St. Clair's such a big curveball.
Yeah.
You know, everybody thinks that you just go up there and automatically catch 22 pounds a day, and it is not like that. You know.
Yeah.
So in practice, what was it? It was day 2. Well, day 1 of practice when I found all that school of fish. You know what I ended up catching them so good off of because I called you 8:30 that morning. I was like, yeah, I found some stuff that's going on pretty sweet. You know, and I had 23 or 4 pounds in the first 4 hours. But
Yep.
you know, I think it was a day 2. I didn't have like 17, 18 pounds, and I mean, I had to work my butt off to catch that. And
Yeah.
then day 3 of practice, we went out and had
A lot.
24, 25 pounds in like 45 minutes. Everywhere we went, it was just dumb. That was probably the funnest, craziest practice I think I'd ever had as far as like catching fish and then going back in the tournament, mashing their ass, you know, like, which I didn't really just smash them in the tournament though. You know, I mean, I was catching 10 or 12 a day. It wasn't just like ramsack like we're in practice, but I mean, it didn't help that it went from 30 boats in the bay on day 1 to 75 or 80 on day 2. That kind of really separated the fish out pretty quick. So, I think that's what depleted the population. Or I think I could have had 25 a day if it wouldn't have happened.
And I feel like it was a while. Like it had been a while since you guys were there, hadn't it? At that point.
Yes, I think so. I mean, you know, Fighter won at that fall. We fished there for the Angle of the Year. Um, and I think I fished it one more time, and I barely made the cut then, I think. So it wasn't like and I didn't catch them anywhere remotely close to where I caught them either of those 2 times that I'd been there. But when I was there, I had absolutely zero clue what I was doing. Like, I mean, I still don't, but I mean, you just, you're just out there, that song drifting in the wind. That's kind of what you do there. And it's just like all of a sudden you know, you find them in either 13 to 14 foot of water or 14 to 16 foot of water. It's like, it's weird. It's not a normal fishery by no means. Like if you just go up there and go fishing, you'll be like grafting, looking for grass and rock, and it doesn't have that. You know, they're just out there roaming from, you know. I mean, obviously there is some grass, but it's not like you go rip a crankbait or a jerk bait through a rattle trap. You know, that would be sweet to catch. Yanking a rattle trap, rip it out of that stuff in a 4 pound eat it. That would be the ultimate, most perfect thing in the world, I think. But now,
But
we
I
got
also
anybody kicking.
feel like St. Clair that was like right at the time where live scope was just hitting. You know what I mean? Like it wasn't like people went there and was like,
Yeah.
"Oh yeah, now we're gonna just be scoping
Well,
like crazy." It was like right when live scope was like, "Oh shit, this is starting to hit."
yeah, because you know I just won St. T in less than 4 foot of water on one,
Yeah.
and then Sapontes had won at Seminole on trees.
Yeah.
Who else? But there was like several kind of leading up to that tournament where it was getting frisky, and then once we done it there, it was like Katie bar the door. Then it was like like you said, it went through the moon of what it was going to do. I mean, because then we go there, then we went to St. Lawrence, and was there like 4 or 5 century belts up there, and it's yeah, that definitely was a turning point in everybody's career. To
Yeah.
you either really put it to work, or go John Cox in it. I mean,
Yeah.
but that year, the year prior or 2 years before, John Cox was leading for like 3 days at St. Clair,
Yeah.
and all he was doing was going up the river. I mean, he was doing some other stuff, but it seems like he was pitching at a lot of seawalls or something through the channel and was catching some giants, and he finally kind of, I don't know if he ran out of fish or what, so it was,
Yeah.
one of them instantly things that can scare you, but it just kind of panned out. But, I think
Well, that's what makes it
fajita.
interesting, like this year going to St. Clair, I feel like that fishery is going to be completely different than when we were there last because of how that, not even just you guys on the Elite Series going there and cracking their ass with live scope, but you have however many people that have been there since. I mean, it's not really like when you look at that place, it's not huge. Like it is not a place. Like yeah, you can go and run a long ways, but
Yeah, yeah,
it's
but
not
just
like I don't know. I feel
it's
like
not
it's
like
going to be
ever.
a lot harder to catch them.
Oh, 100%. I mean, I'm probably gonna have some of that GF stuff in my boat that makes it. Well, you seen how much difference it made. Like, I mean, it was a complete difference because I had like 15 locals fishing around me in my primary area after day two, and I had to outfish them in my area. No other league guys were in there except locals, so that kind of was pretty tough. But uh, yeah, it's definitely going to be different. And plus, we're going there later in the year, so those fish have had time to get educated.
Yeah,
And there's so many more people. I feel like there's so many more people going up there after we go somewhere. I mean, the St. Lawrence River is the best example out of all of it. It's been top 100 lakes on Bassmaster for it feels like eternity, and and it's still exceptionally great up there, but it's not as easy as it
right.
was. Like it's definitely tough. Like you used to go up there. I tell a story 1,000 times. You used to idle over a rock in 15 or 20 foot of water, whatever. If you idled over a boulder that was 3 foot tall, there'd be 6 dots on it, and you would drop a drop shot down there, and it almost didn't matter what you dropped. All 6 of them would go down and look at your bait, and if you caught them and didn't lose any of them, you're allowed to catch all 6 of those fish by the time you move from that rock. Like they were, and now you go up there and you got to have your shit dialed in. You're throwing 8 pound test line or 6, with a longer leader, either a lighter drop shot or heavier. You got to have the certain bait shape, color. It's got to be dialed now because those fish have got educated big time. I mean, but I mean, there's still billions of them out there swimming around. It's not like there's only 700 4 pounders in the world that live on those rocks, but it has just definitely not been as good. I mean, was it last year when we were up there? The weights, which we had to run from, forever away to get out there, and we didn't have as much time, and it was not smooth every day we went out there, so that made a difference. But it wasn't as easy. I mean, those high percentage areas are getting hammered,
Yeah.
So,
Well, and I
but
don't know
there's
if you
still a few weeks off.
that I seen a snippet and it was with Emil or however you say his name, but he was on a podcast or whatever and he hit it right on the head. He was talking about Lanier, his home pond and stuff, and he was talking forward facing sonar nowadays. And he was saying that, like back before that, you could run a bunch of stuff and throw a top water out there and they would demolish it. And he's like, now he's like, everyone hates on forward facing sonar and all this stuff. He's like, but what it's done is made it way harder on everyone to catch those fish. He's like, because I can roll up on all these hidden spots that I have with forward facing sonar. And he said, the difference is I can't throw a top water out there because they won't eat it. He's like, but I can see them all. I throw out there. He said the difference is now with forward facing sonar is you have to be, this is what brought this up when you said it. You have to be so precise. You have to be so dialed in. Your technique has to be different than everybody else. There's so much that plays into the game now with forward facing sonar. He's like, it's not, oh, I have live scope, I'm going to go out there and wreck them. He's like, it all
Yeah.
comes down to, you might have a different profile bait than everybody else, but you still might not catch them if you aren't dialed in with using that bait, using a technique that's different from everybody else, slowing it down or making it faster, whatever that might be. He said that's the game changer right now. If you can figure out a certain lake and figure out the technique and being precise on every cast, yeah, you'll catch them still. But it's not like you're just going to go out. You can't send me out there, for example, and be like, "Oh yeah, you got live scope, put it on your boat and go catch them." It's just not going to happen because I don't know any of that stuff. And I was like, that's perfect. The way he said it was spot on because that's the name of the game. Like, yeah, live scope's huge and it helps you in a lot of ways. But if, especially you guys, 100 guys in the country are using it. Everyone has access to it and everyone's
Yeah.
using it. It's just a matter of who is the best at it.
Yeah. Yeah. It's, which there's been so much debate about it and everything. Uh, but I think what forward facing has done a lot is it makes the weights more consistent throughout the entire field. It there used to be a lot more tournaments where first and second might be the only two competing on the final day, pretty much. There would be big gaps. Which we just seen Welcher, win by the biggest margin in history, but that doesn't happen. Even whenever I won big, that doesn't happen very, very often anymore. Um, and it does level it out. It seems like across the board. It's like St. Clair. We go there. If you don't have 21 or 22 pounds a day, you're probably not going to make day 4. That's insane. It used to be 19 and a half, 20. You had a really good shot. But we're also making 700 casts a day and had a drop on 15 fish. Now we're making 200 casts and dropping on 150 fish. So it just it eliminates water. It does take once you understand it, it makes you a lot more efficient. As far as what you're looking at. But I mean, we watched me at Fork. I couldn't get them fire. I couldn't figure out the niche to whatever I need to do, which I didn't look at what I needed to. After going back and look at it, it's like dummy. You know what I mean? Like that was in my mind. But going and seeing how many guys wrecked them shallow, which is what I like to do and what that I'm better at, and I didn't do it. That's one of those things. It can, I guess, you have other leagues and stuff that are either don't have it or doing partly or whatever they're doing. It takes that aspect away from the game. Like, as far as you don't have to worry about, I don't have to go out there and scope trees. I can go out there and flip a jig on them, but I don't know if there's a fish sitting there or not anymore. So uh, it there's do's and don'ts about it. It's been a lot of fun. I enjoy using it. It's fun. Crappie fishing's a hell of a lot more fun. I go up there and drop a jig on their head every time. Or going up there up north on them smallmouth. It is extremely fun, but it can also be the most frustrating thing because you can get locked in doing something, all of a sudden you forget where you're at in the world. You
Right.
know, I mean, you know, I mean, but look what it did for me at Hartwell. You know, I mean, that was literally a one bait wonder for me at that place.
No.
You know, and that doesn't happen very often.
No.
But I would throw it. How many casts you were with me watching me? How many casts did I make a day at fish that I couldn't get to bite? And it was
Right.
like every 30th fish, it seems like I'd get one to commit. And hell, it was tough. But it's just like they're so educated. No matter where we're at in the country, uh, I think one place that's going to be kind of cool. Not, I mean, it's going to be used quite a bit, but the Mississippi up here in Wisconsin, that'll be a really cool tournament. I think. Well, some guys catch them off jetties and stuff like that with it. Yeah, I mean, 100%. But I think we get to see a lot more old school fishing, just like we did at Sabine last week. I think it's. I'm looking forward to that one, and I've done decent up there. I guess we've been up there once or twice since I've been there, and it's a really cool fishery. I mean, other than the fact that you don't know if you're going to be stuck on a sandbar for half a day or part of the day, because if it's low, it's going to happen. Because all them backwaters, they change every year, and you try to run into something that might not be there anymore. And I mean, we got great mapping from Humminbird, but it still don't map some of that stuff off the beaten path. Because it silts in every year or cleans out, vice versa. So, but I was kind of hoping we was gonna get Blake on there tonight. I was gonna razz him about 10 killer pretty good, see if I get the juice on it and see what's gonna happen. I've been praying for rain up there for them dang things to let it get up there about 6 foot high and in the bushes, so it would be a blast. But I don't think we're gonna get that much rain. That's the only lake in Oklahoma I think that's like almost at normal pool. Everywhere else is high except them. It seems like they've really kept the water down, which kind of sucks. I did see some weights there the other day. Um, I don't know exactly what it was. Some of my buddies had posted some stuff on Facebook that they'd fished it. Like 13, 14, 15 pounds in there, I think, was up there in the top 4 or 5. I think I could be wrong. So it's still fishing pretty good, but I figured it'd be a little bit better than that. But we're looking at, I mean, right now we're looking at major post spawn. So, our fish are definitely going to be a little bit lighter than what they normally would right now. So they start fattening up a little bit probably by the time we get there in a few weeks. But kind of nervous about that lake. I hadn't been to it since Carl won, however many years ago that's been, and I don't know. I don't even know what it's like to fish in Oklahoma anymore. It doesn't seem like we've been here in so long.
No, we got to wrap up
you follow
before it gets too late in the podcast.
Somewhat.
So we got to wrap up Sabine since we haven't touched on that.
Yay. Oh, Sabine.
Wasn't a bad tournament.
No, it wasn't. That was another one I pretty well locked one bait in my hand the entire tournament, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, I literally put a Cara Amistad, favorite flipping stick. I was throwing a quarter a lot, I think, a quarter ounce weight. But then I think the wind got, well, hell, the wind blew every damn day there. But that quarter I wasn't being able.
So day 3 is when you finally switched out, I think.
Yeah, because I was like, what's it matter? I'm fishing 6 inches of water anyway. They're going to bite it or they're going to let it go, And I put a 5/16 on there, which I think that makes those legs on that spine crawl, flop a little bit more. 60-pound sunline braid, high speed reel, and just cracking them little suckers as hard as you could, every day in the tournament. That one there was one I probably wish I'd have done a few things different though. I didn't. I stayed in Taylor's the first day of practice and, had that 8 to 9 pounds, caught quite a few keepers. Day 2, went to where the areas I ended up fishing most of the tournament and caught them, caught another 8 to 9 pounds, but just never got a good bite. And then day 3 of practice, we absolutely cracked them. Everywhere we went, it seemed like it was a 2 to 3 pound fish, literally. Like I had never, it wasn't like that at all. It's never like that, Sabine. And not a single one of those fish showed up to day 2, and then I lost her.
Yeah.
3. But, I don't, it was really weird for me in practice. I made a mistake on day 1 of practice and went to Taylor's, I think. And I really wish I'd went there on day 2 or day 3 of practice because the water came back up because, we had a north wind and it actually kind of blew some of the water out and it was lower. And I couldn't really get bites. I mean, they were on precise stuff, but I couldn't get bites to make me want to stay there to say, okay, if there's 40 guys or 50 guys or 70 that went there, like they said, that stuff's going to get beat to hell real quick. And that was something I was nervous about. So I thought I played it safe, and which I really didn't because we didn't have a fish at 11 o'clock on day one,
Yeah.
something like that. Because I sat there and I was waiting for the tide to come in, and it came in and nothing happened. So there's one of them deals. But 33rd's not bad. I mean, I lost I think 3 fish that would have moved me up. It gave me 22, 23 pounds, which would have been another 15 spots probably. you know, but that's part of it. So I don't know. It was but I got to do like fish like I wanted to. Got to go flipping. Uh, I caught a bunch on the buzz bait and spinner bait and chatter bait and stuff in practice. And I don't know if I ever caught one in the tournament, which it was hard to lay a spine crawl down whenever that's what I was catching everything on. I mean, when it's as tough as that place was, uh, I think it's best to sometimes really narrow your stuff down and pick up something you got confidence in. What do I got confidence in? Flipping. And that's what I did. Well, I did catch a couple of second day or final day on a frog.
Yeah,
Old
you did.
booyah pressure. Got actually probably my two best fish on a frog. So, but other than that, it was a grinder. I enjoyed it. I actually liked it. That's probably the funnest tournament we've had all year.
Yeah.
Other than third at Hartwell, that was really sweet. But uh, that was fun to me. I mean, you didn't have to worry about doing anything else. All you had to do is about worrying about when that water starts moving. You better be where you want to be, because when that tide moved, those would bite. And it was pretty tough. But all in all, it was a fun tournament. I hope we go back. I mean, I know you don't like going there and sweating to death. I'd like to go there in I don't know, March or April. The
It is.
first of
I mean,
first of
it
March,
is.
first of April.
It's a tough tournament from a cameraman's perspective. Not saying I don't like Sabine or Orange. I mean, we get treated great with our buddies and all that there, but running a camera there is about the most brutal place to run a camera there, because you're liable to pull up to a spot, catch 2 fish, and you're like, holy shit, we're on to something. And then you might go 4 or 5 hours before you get another bite. It's not like you're swinging and missing and, oh, yeah, we got bites here. We just missed them. We messed up. You're going 4 or 5 hours without a hook set or an attempt at a hook set. Like, it is a long, grueling day. And it's not like it's 60 degrees, sun's out, no wind. It's beautiful. Just a great day to be alive. No, it is upper 90s, sweating your ass off, and you're holding a camera in the same spot all day long and hoping for a fish bite. And literally, I mean, if you talk to any of the guys that fish, not just Luke, but you talk to any of them, they were liable to get 5 to 8 bites a day. That's what you're banking on. Like, this is a tournament that you have to you have to execute or you're screwed, because you're only getting that many bites. There's not a lot of guys that could tell you, oh, yeah, I went out and crushed them today. I caught 25 keepers. Like, that's not this tournament. This tournament is like you get 5 to 8, maybe. I mean, a great day is 10 bites and you're out there for 8 hours, and I mean, some tournaments you go
Making
to
ten
Hartwell,
thousand.
you're looking at hundreds of fish. Like, it is completely different. And like, it's just a grinder, a grueling tournament. Like, from a cameraman's perspective, like I told Luke numerous times when we were out there, like, I couldn't imagine fishing this just from the mental side of it, because like mentally you have to be dialed in all day or you're screwed. Like, you might as well not even count yourself in the top 50 if you can't stay in it mentally, because you're only getting that many bites, and you're flipping. Like, he's flipping thousands. Like, we joked about it the one day, like, we should just have a clicker in the boat one day just for flips, because it would be astronomical and blow people's minds at how many times these guys are flipping just to get 5 to 8 bites a day. Like, it's insane. But when it pays off big, obviously, which is cool to see. But it is a long, day, and then to do it day after day, especially after practice. I mean, you're talking 13, 14-hour days, sun up to sundown before the tournament even starts, which I don't know. I couldn't do it. I told Luke, this is exactly why I'm not a fisherman because we go to places like this and I would lose my mind like very quickly.
But it's like, I mean, you say that, but then there's like how many guys we talked to are like, it was tough, but I liked it.
Yeah.
I mean, we had several guys saying that there's nothing in the back of their mind like, oh, I need to go out there and throw a deep diving crankbait or a Carolina rig. Now,
Yeah.
you were literally in the dirt the entire time, which a lot of that had to do with uh, the high water. It was like normally we would have spread out better. Taylor's had good water in it. The Natchez was blowed out. Even some guys had went there though. Cal was pretty good water. Adams was good water. The Sabine, once you went past Orange very far, it got out of hand way up there too. So, I mean, there was, but some guys said there was like 60 something boats uh, in Taylor's, which I expected that because you could get bit in there in practice, or the one day I was there. Dave asked the couple areas that I was in didn't have anybody in it. I mean, I guess that explains 33rd finish, but there wasn't. Uh, I think what was there probably 6 or so in the area I stayed in on Saturday, but there wouldn't be that many boats in them till about 12 or 1 o'clock when everybody was running from Taylor's coming back. Because from to the ramp, I'm guessing a hard 45 minutes. And I could be wrong, but it was dang sure a pretty dang good run. To get back in there to get to fishing and stuff because you're running intercoastal and all the shipping barge and stuff like that. That is a pretty cool run though. I mean, other than the fact there's one stretch behind an island that you think is going to be really smooth, and there's all those residuals in there, and they just beat the tar out of you. But it is pretty neat running through all through the barge traffic and kind of seeing that side of the world, I guess you'd say, of what's going on right there on the coast. But that and all the blue crabs I was catching, that was freaking like I've never caught one there, And this year it was like if I didn't get bit down a place, I would get a crab bite though. Did you ever notice that? Like I never would catch a bass where the crabs were. It was weird, or for me anyway. But that was definitely different. I'm glad I didn't shake them off thinking I had a bass bite because they felt like one, and but
We
it
need
didn't
to
pan out.
we need to get you one of them shirts that says got my crabs from Dirty Dick's Crab Shack. And then you have to wear that in the tournament every year we go to the Sabine from now on.
Shit.
There's a place, I don't know, it's literally called Dirty Dick's Crab Shack on the Outer Banks, and every time we drive to the beach house, there's a big billboard and it says I got my crabs from Dirty Dick's, and then in small lettering it says Crab Shack.
Gosh,
and every
every
time I drive
here.
by that and I think about you and Bird, I'm like, man, I gotta swing in there and get them a t-shirt when I go there.
Well, Bird, he would eat that up. I can guarantee you that. That was one thing. Everywhere me and Bird would go whenever I was traveling for the opens, or if we traveled anywhere, he always had to get a T-shirt from somewhere, and he got some very interesting T-shirts throughout the years from the places we went to. But he had quite a collection after the time going on for sure. So I don't know. I'm looking forward to the 10 killer. Glad it's going to be close to home. I mean, really, the last two are pretty close. I was able to drive home Saturday night, got home by 1 or so it wasn't terrible. But I don't know them close tournaments. I've got some history on 10 killer, not a ton. I fished some Fishers of Men there and some Fisherman's Choice tournaments, and we fished that Elite there and some ABAs. Not a ton. I probably fished 8, 10 tournaments in my life there, which is not that many, I guess you'd say, over 20 years of fishing. So not been there a ton, and they've always been at different times of year. So, I've been there in the fall. I've been there in February, March, April, May, June. August. So I don't know. It's going to be interesting. With the water. I said I've been watching the water levels and stuff, and that place has been relatively stable compared to everywhere else. Has been super super high, and it's still super super high. I was wishing it would be super super high, but they can drop that lake in a hurry normally too. So if it was 7 foot high, they can have her dropped out in a couple, 3 or 4 days probably. So it'll be a fun one. I mean, should be, which it hadn't got hot here. I mean, we've been in the upper 70s, low 80s, so it's not been super hot here yet. So that might keep some of those fish from pulling out really really deep. So I've never fished it really really deep, so I hope I don't have to. But 100 guys on that pond for 3 days of practice is going to get worked over. I mean, it's a long, narrow kind of river lake, bluff walls all around it. So it'll be a fun one though. I mean, like I said, it's gonna be cool. It's close to home. Have some family come up. A lot of guys I fished against are from up that way. So I'm sure a lot of them will come and see what's going on, and hopefully
How
they'll
did
go follow Blake.
how did Carl win it that year? He won it.
He ended up catching him off this one tree. It's in a cut. Um, I mean, he caught him off a football jig then. I don't know how else he caught him, doing what else. I just know that was his final day. I know he caught a big one or two on a football jig, I think. But we were in August or September that year. It was hot, hot, hot. You catch them on the top water. And a lot of guys were throwing whopper ploppers and stuff like that. I was throwing my Booyah Boss Pop like I always do. Uh, should have had a really really good tournament there and lost a few fish, which is normal on top water late in the year like that. But it'll be a different thing this time. Top water bite's going to be very crucial if you can get a couple good ones on top, and then you'll have to poke around to probably catch the other ones. But I mean, from what guys I've looked on internet, and then uh, just seeing results and stuff. It looks like the place is smacked full of fish. It's really healthy. It's doing well. So, and Jason's, he goes and fishes jackpots and stuff in the wintertime. It always takes over 20. So they live there. It's going to be a smallmouth, largemouth, and spotted bass deal. And the smallmouth have really came on the last few years from what I've heard, and seen. I've been wanting to stop by there just to fish it just for the smallies. Um,
Yeah.
so it could be interesting. It could be a tournament won solely off of smallmouth in Oklahoma. That would be a first, for down here for us. So I don't know. Looking forward to it. It'll be a fun one. It'll be nice and warm down here by then. I'm sure it'll probably turn off and be a triple digit that week, but
Oh,
that'll be all
yeah.
right.
If I'm coming to town, it'll be hot. I'll
Oh yeah,
leave
definitely.
beautiful weather to come down there. We got another one. Says I need a falcon rod, kind of do it all rod. What are your suggestions?
Uh, the all around Falcons all around 7 footer. It's really good. Uh, that one or the swim jig rod. I really like the swim jig rod. That 7.2. Uh, you can throw a top water with it. You can throw a worm. A light Texas rig. I throw a spinner bait on it. You know, crankbait. It's not as good because it's a little bit stiff for crankbait. But other than that, you can probably pretty well throw that across the board. And, if I was just going to choose one, that's probably the one I'd actually get. The 7.2 Slim Jig rod. That's one of my favorite rods anyway. I mean, hell, you see me, I got a spinner bait, a buzz bait, a chatter bait. I throw a fluke style bait on it, a shaky head. So a little bit do it all there.
Talked to old Blakey Poo today. He asked me where I was. I said, why? He goes, well, I'm heading up your way Sunday. I'm like, what? He's like, oh yeah, how far are you from Ashland? I'm like, Ashland, that's as far as you can go before you hit Canada. He's like, oh, I'm gonna go up there smallmouth fishing with my buddy for 3 days. I was like, what? I was like, are you flying in? He's like, nope, gonna pull the boat up there. I was like, must be nice.
Oh no,
Jesus.
absolutely.
And they're literally
Uh,
they're literally leaving Sunday and they're coming back Wednesday night.
Oh shoot,
That
that's
that has
18
to be.
hours.
Yeah, I told him, I was like, dude, to get to where I'm at right now at the campground would take you probably a solid 11, and then you're gonna go another probably 6.5 to get to Ashland from me.
Nope, no thank you. I mean, I'm sure the fishing's going to be dumb, and it'll be phenomenal. But
Oh yeah,
I'm gonna
I
stay
mean,
home.
he said he's done it the last couple years, and they hit it like perfect. They're on beds, and they just smash them. But
Yeah,
I don't know. I feel like I'd
yeah,
figure out better things to do with 18 hours twice
yeah. Since we've
in
already,
three
since we're going
days.
to do it, yeah,
God,
yeah.
I don't know.
I'd rent a boat, not done it. So,
No, he's like, well, I just
but
figured
we got any
depending
more?
where you were, I'd swing in. I'm like, you aren't going to be anywhere close to me, buddy.
No,
So,
no, no. Well, we got any more questions on there and stuff? Because mosquitoes are about to carry me off outside this house.
let me see here. Not really any questions. Just Lucky Lure says they won't have any of those swim jig rods. Jeez, come on. You got to have those in stock all the time, Mike. What are you doing here? Can't sell them if you ain't got them. Oh, but no, yeah, we can wrap this one up. We knew this one would be a little short. We're finally at home. Well, I guess Blake's at home for another 3 days, and then he's leaving.
Yeah,
But Luke's settled in. I'm settled in until we head to 10 Killer, which is really only what, week and a half away already, or 2 weeks,
yeah. So
whatever it is.
yeah, practice on Sunday that week too.
Yeah, so it'll be
We're off
a.
on Wednesday.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
that is right. Sunday, Monday.
yeah.
So I'll have to
Tuesday
come in
practice.
on Monday, right? Yeah, Monday. I'm glad you
You'll
said that.
probably
I
look at the
forgot.
weather and decide if you want to come in or not.
Yeah, if it's 100, nah, you're good.
Truck
Uh,
broke down, didn't
that's good. That is weird. I wonder why they do that. Because there's that one, and then I think lacrosse is the same way. Honestly,
I'm sure we'll have an anglers meeting at the cross or something. If
yeah,
I'm
there's
guessing
something.
right.
I know there was 2 tournaments. I think this year that have that weird setup where we have an off day. So I think it's got to be lacrosse because I don't think it's St. Clair. So
Not any reason for it. I guess that'll give the fish a day break from us pounding on them.
yeah,
So
exactly.
they'll need it. So, but yeah,
Other than
that'll
that,
wrap us up. In there, little man screaming. So I don't think
yeah,
he's screaming for me to ask for good.
no.
Go in there and change diapers and eat dinner.
That's right. All right. Well, we appreciate you guys jumping on again for another week of Tourney Talk. We'll be back. Should be back next Thursday. Hopefully, we can get Blake to jump on. Sounds like he should be home by like midday Thursday, which would be kind of good. We can get a wrap up of how his smallmouth smash fest goes over Memorial Day. I guess he's planning on going up there. So check in with
Yeah,
him. Luke's going to do bounce houses from now till then. and
that is for sure.
we will
Maybe go.
maybe go fishing. So, but other than that,
Yeah,
we'll
we'll see.
catch you guys here on Tourney Talk next week. We'll keep these rolling out. They seem to be doing pretty well. Appreciate all the feedback on them, and we'll catch you guys next week.
All right. See y'all later.